In the beginning of this year, I set a very optimistic goal for myself, which I knew I was doomed to fail in, and that was to not buy books as much as I can, like as much as possible. Stay away from buying books and to read from books that I already own. And of course, in the first month of the year itself, I failed miserably and I ended up buying books. And I in fact posted a mini book haul video just a few days ago. And again, I'm back with another book haul, but the difference is that the books that I'm going to show you today are from a local bookstore. I try to stay away from Amazon as much as I can. While I was browsing Bookstagram last week, I found an ad for a local bookstore here in Bangalore, and I immediately jumped on it and ordered some books. So that is the Champaca Bookstore. It's situated in Vasantnagar. They sent me a small minimalistic postcard which has some details of the shop. So, Champaka is an independent women run bookstore, children's library, and cafe. We bring diverse stories and perspectives of our readers through our books and events. We have an online store that ships across India. So, go to www.champaka.in and you can buy great books. Now, one thing I really noticed about the books that they shipped me is the quality of the books. Wonderful. Sometimes, most of the times, I'm not at all happy with the quality of book that's shipped by Amazon. I always feel some of them are come damaged, some are like leftover pieces kind of feel to them. So today's video is a book haul. My name is Angela. I'm your own bookaholic brand name. You can call me Angie. If this is your first time here and wondering what this channel is about, in this channel I talk about books that I've read, books I'm reading, books that I'm planning to read. So if you're a bookaholic like me, please do not hesitate from subscribing to my channel, and also please like, share, and comment. So without further ado, let's get into the book haul. Last year, I read my first ever Albert Camus novel, which was The Strangers, and I absolutely loved it. I have done an independent video reviewing the book. After reading that, I decided that I need to read more from Albert Camus. So I bought The Myth of Sisyphus by Albert Camus. There is but one truly serious philosophical problem, and that is suicide. That sounds ominous and dark and nihilistic. Inspired by the myth of the man condemned to ceasingly push a rock up a mountain and watch it roll back to the valley below, the myth of Sisyphus transformed 20th century philosophy with its impassioned argument for the value of life in a world without religious meaning. Wow, I'm excited to read this. And as usual, it's a very small book. I think Albert Camus is an expert in packing so much of deep meaning and philosophical ponderings in so many less number of pages. 2022 for me will be an year of discovering new authors, I think, because I've already started so many new authors, whom I always wanted to read from. And one of them is Octavia E. Butler. This month I'm going to start Kindred. I'm going to buddy read that with Anita from Anita Gade's channel. While I was browsing through Champaka, I came across this wonderful synopsis of Octavia E. Butler's book, Wild Seed, a patternist novel. So I think it's kind of a series, the patternist series, and this is the first book in that. I really loved the premise of this. Let me read it out to you. It begins when two immortals meet in African forest. Doro is an ancient spirit who for thousands of years has cultivated a small village of people in search of perfection. He steals from their bodies to sustain his own life. Doro fears no one until he meets Anyanwu. Anyanwu is like Doro and yet different. She uses her wisdom to help others, healing injuries, birthing tribes, and shifting the shapes of her own body. Anyanwu feels no threat until she meets Doro. In an epic story of love and hate, Doro and Anyanwu chase each other across continents and centuries, a power struggle that echoes through generations. Together they will change the world. And I am ashamed that I have never read her works before, and I'm thankful to BookTube for introducing me to her. That was Wild Seed by Octavia E. Butler. When it comes to nonfiction, one subject that I really want to explore more going forward is the subject of caste. Last year I read Suraj Yengray's Caste Matters and also Isabel Wilkerson's Caste. So this year I bought a couple of books related to caste as well, which are essential reading if you want to understand, caste in India. The next book that I want to show you is The Persistence of Caste by Anand Telthumbre. I hope that's how it's pronounced. While the caste system has been formally abolished under the Indian Constitution, according to official statistics, every 18 minutes a crime is committed on a Dalit. Dalit is the oppressed caste of India. The gouging out of eyes, the hacking off of limbs, and being burned alive or stoned to death are routine in the atrocities perpetrated against India's 170 million Dalits. What drives people to commit such inhuman crimes? The persistence of caste uses the shocking case of Angie, the brutal murder of 4 members of a Dalit family in 2006, to explode the myth that caste no longer matters. Analyzing context and crime, it seeks to locate this event in the political economy of the development process India has followed after independence. Telthumbre demonstrates how caste has shown amazing resilience, surviving feudalism, capitalist industrialization, and a republican constitution, to still be alive and well today despite all denial under neoliberal globalization. The last sentence is something that really irritates me a lot. The corporate India, which employs a whole bunch of young Indians, are so blind to the atrocities of caste. Caste do not appear in anywhere in their policies at all, as if caste has no implication in the society and the socio-economic political sphere of India. Of course, it is not a surprise because even when it comes to corporate India, the higher echelons of its positions are always occupied by caste Indians. So why will they bother about addressing an issue of caste by introducing anything or even acknowledging them in their policies? At least in the mainstream, we know and acknowledge, and people chant that, racism is wrong, racism is this, racism is bad, it needs to be fought. But when it comes to caste, the mainstream India, which is definitely dominated by the upper caste, the caste Indians, they never acknowledge that. They will definitely kneel down and talk about Black Lives Matters, but they will never, ever utter something called Dalit Life Matters, because that would mean an actionable response from them. But they are the beneficiary of this whole caste system, so why will they speak up against it? Caste related atrocities do not get addressed or talked about with the seriousness of other crimes committed, like crimes committed against women in general, or general crime. But caste related crimes are not given that much sensitivity and importance by mainstream Indian media and general discourse. I hope these frustrations are covered in this book. Next is a book from one of my favorite non-fiction author, and that is The Doctor and the Saint by Arundhati Roy. This is so beautifully illustrated. So Indians would know. So this glass represents uh, Gandhiji, and this is the outline of Mahatma Ambedkar, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Miss Roy is addressing B.R. Ambedkar, Mahatma Ambedkar, as the doctor, because obviously he has a doctorate. So he is a doctor, and the saint is Gandhiji. And this is an amazing read. I had read this book a while back on Kindle, and I wanted to have a physical copy, and I'm so glad I bought this. This is such a beautiful edition. It has this kind of I don't know what is it called, French flap. What is it called? So yeah, and the texture of the book cover is also very beautiful. This book is about the Ambedkar Gandhi debate Caste, Race, and Annihilation of Caste. So the Annihilation of Caste was a speech that Dr. B.R. Ambedkar had, prepared to be given back in 1930s. The organizers of the event had asked him to send in advance a copy of his speech, and these people were these progressive liberals, apparently, who wanted to have discussions and discourse related to caste in the Congress, and they said that it was too provocative and he was not allowed to make that speech. But later on, it was published as a book. So, The Annihilation of Caste is an interesting read. Please read it, and it's a very short read actually to understand the caste system in India. This book is a commentary on annihilation of caste, and also a kind of a comparison between the work of Dr. Ambedkar and Gandhiji. Let me read the description on the back cover. To best understand and address the inequality in India today, Arundhati Roy insists we must examine both the political development and influence of M.K. Gandhi, and why B.R. Ambedkar's brilliant challenge to his near divine status was suppressed by India's elite. In Roy's analysis, we see that Ambedkar's fight for justice was systematically sidelined in favor of policies that reinforced caste, resulting in the current nation of India, independent of British rule, globally powerful, and marked to this day by the caste system. The fact that most of you guys who are watching me from the West know of Gandhi and not of B.R. Ambedkar, that speaks volumes. This is a book that explores why that difference emerged, and how his voice, Mahatma Ambedkar's voice, was suppressed while Gandhi is still being celebrated as a saint. Of course, Arundhati Roy is a brilliant writer. If you don't know, Arundhati Roy won the Man Booker Prize in 1997 for her book The God of Small Things. So she's an excellent writer, but more than her fiction writings, I love her non-fiction writings. Even when she writes non-fiction, it is so lyrically beautiful, and that's why I like her non-fiction writing. It is piercing, it is scathing, but at the same time, it is lyrical and poetic. Really looking forward to rereading this book. Next up is a tome. So I picked this book up, The Dawn of Everything, A New History of Humanity by David Graeber and David Benbow. Unfortunately, David Graeber passed away in 2020. But luckily for us, before his sad demise, he had finished his book. This book I came across in a Bookstagram post, and the description of the post was that this book really changed the understanding of history, and it is retelling of history which will transform our understanding of the human past, and it will offer a path towards imagining new ways of understanding freedom and new ways of organizing society. So that's what attracted me to this book, and the person who posted it was gushing about this book. Now this book is huge, it's 700 pages. If you look into the book, really the book is only 500 and 26 pages. The rest is rest 200 pages are notes and bibliography. I was very brave enough to include this as my March non-fiction read. So that is The Dawn of Everything, A New History of Humanity. Another book about caste. So this is a book by Anand Teltumbde, which is Republic of Caste. So it's the same author as The Persistence of Caste. Thinking Equality in the Time of Neoliberal Hindutva. This is definitely something that I want to get to, if not this year, maybe next year. So that was Republic of Caste by Anand Teltumbde. Oh my god, I saved the best for the last. This is my favorite buy in the entire haul, and that is Palestine by Joe Sacco. This is a graphic novel book. I really liked it. Look at that. So the author, Joe Sacco, I hope that's how his name is pronounced, was in the Palestinian West Bank and Gaza Strip during the late 1991 and 1992 during the first Intifada. And once he returned to the US, he started writing and documenting and drawing his experiences. And this is basically documented or written in the form of an eyewitness reportage, using comic book. Format, and this was initially published as a 9-issue comic series, and this is the first time it has been consolidated into one single novel. It won the 1996 American Book Award. I'm truly looking forward to this because, again, Palestinian issue is also something very close to my heart. A political and aesthetic work of extraordinary originality, quite unlike any other in the long, often turgid and hopelessly twisted debates that have occupied Palestinians, Israelis, and their respective supporters. With the exception of one or two novelists and poets, no one has ever rendered this terrible state of affairs better than Joe Sacco. This is the last book in the haul video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. And I will be back before you know it. This is Angie signing off. Bye bye.